So, as if my divorce haven't gone bad enough, if you've been following my story, um, last year, February 2020, after I fired my third lawyer who dropped my motion for support, who just left me sitting around for, a few months and spent a lot of my money. I fired him and I was just a pro se trying to figure out what to do, scared to death. So I got a letter from his attorney saying you never turned in your discovery, but I never got his full discovery either. And it was something that the lawyers had worked out behind my back. And what happened was with discovery is, you propound discovery. You send, a list of like, I want all your financial statements, I want all your bank statements, your checking, your brokerage account. And they're supposed to provide copies of every single financial documents to you for 5 years. So what happened was my attorney had signed something right away that we received it. And now 2 years later, I realize what they should have done. And what they should have done was they should have first reviewed the file to make sure, we have everything. And I didn't understand the process at that time. And so my attorney signed it right away, confirming that we had everything. And I didn't know that. I just thought he signed it, kind of like we received it. But as it turns out, that's not the case. So I got screwed in that because now I'm trying to tell the judge, like, I don't have his full financials. And the judge doesn't believe me because they're like, look, your lawyer signed it on that day when it was delivered. Also, I had half a box and it didn't provide me with his savings, his checking, canceled checks that he's supposed to provide me. It had all the half a box of junk, pretty much, like his insurance card, his car registration. So, he's playing with a full deck and I'm not. And let me go into how he's playing with a full deck. So, in early 2020, I got a letter from his lawyer, like I said, where they said, you haven't provided discovery and we can't move forward in negotiations with you until we get discovery. So I panicked. And the first thing I did was, again, I went to a very expensive, high profile lawyer. So don't pick lawyers just because they're expensive. Don't pick lawyers because they're well known. Don't pick lawyers because they've written a book. Like me, I made all the dumb mistakes. So what happened was I hired her and she charged me $8,000 to do my discovery, meaning to review all of my answers and my financials, even though I've done it already with the other one, but she wanted to redo it again. So, I was given 20 days to do it, and I gave everything to my attorney within 20 days. And so that was like March 10th, and I got it to her March 30th. And the other side claims that it came late. I don't know why it came late. I gave it to my attorney, and it says on the bill March 30th, can't deliver. So there was a motion. They filed a motion against me saying I didn't provide everything, which I did for like 10 years worth of everything, even though I didn't have any money. I wasn't working. All of our accounts have always been joint accounts. So, I even gave I was married for 17 years, so it's pretty much, everything that we had together. And it got to be so stupid because, I worked at one place for 7 years. And then when I went to a different job, I rolled it over to that new job. And then when I left that job to stay at home because my kids had health issues, I rolled it over to an IRA. And so, the fact that I gave them the statement of when it was open, it wasn't enough. Then I had to get a check, a copy of the original check, and that wasn't good enough for them. So, the statement of when it was open should have been enough. But that just goes to show like how awful it can be. So I thought that would be the end of it, right? I did my discovery. I didn't get his. I told my lawyer I don't have his stuff. And the lawyer told me the wrong thing. She should have made a demand for his discovery during that time, and she should have raised it with the judge. And instead, she charged me a lot of money for my discovery. She never told the judge I didn't have his discovery. And she didn't respond to the motion that I was delinquent on discovery. The fact that you don't respond to a motion, you lose by default. If you're in an amicable divorce, you probably wouldn't have a motion. And if yours isn't as bad as mine, maybe sometimes if you don't respond, it's okay. But the rule of the court is that you get a hit with a motion, you have to respond. If you don't respond, you lose. And so they were asking for $10,273 of attorney fees. And I didn't know this at the time because, we're all kind of blind to the legal system because you only go to divorce once, hopefully, or, most people don't go through such a highly contentious divorce like I do. So if you don't respond to a motion, you lose by default. And that's what happened to me. Even though I had a $600 an hour attorney who wrote a book, who's on the board of her law firm. And then we had a hearing. So for the fact of, even before the hearing, my judge emailed my lawyer and she put an associate on my case, even though I couldn't afford more than one lawyer. She put another lawyer on my case, and the judge emailed both of them, do you have a response to the motion? And they ignored her email. So number one, that makes me look really bad because we didn't file a motion and I wasn't copied on the email because when you're represented, the court only sends emails to the lawyers, unless you're a pro se, unless you have no lawyers. The judge doesn't copy, you if you have a lawyer. So I was floored, and I found that out recently after I fired them, when I was going through my files. So they didn't respond to a motion, which looks like I don't care about me being delinquent on a discovery. They didn't raise the fact that I didn't have his full discovery, and they didn't respond to the judge. So all that shows that I really don't care. And so the judge, and I didn't know what happened at the time. My lawyer called me 10 minutes before the call and said the judge wants everybody on the phone. And I had no idea what was going on. She should have told me it was a hearing. And it was a hearing I was going to lose because we didn't respond to the judge and we did not, respond to the motion. So her and her associate both got on the phone and, they had a flimsy argument for me, which at that point, there is no argument because we didn't respond. So I lost already, even before I got on the phone. So what happened to me this week is, again, the other side had brought up that, they they still even say to today that they don't have my full discovery. That, they filed a motion against me. They have a judgment of $10,273 against me, and I never paid that judgment, which you're supposed to pay within 60 days. So, what happened was I responded saying in my motion this week that, I attached my lawyer's email, me and my lawyer, and our previous lawyer, actually, because now I'm self-representing because my case is a mess. So what happened is, going back to February, I emailed the same woman who didn't respond to the motion, who didn't tell me why we lost, why the call was 5 minutes long. And so I emailed her and I said, I don't have $10,273 to give him right now, especially with your big bill. Can you talk to the judge? Tell the judge in 2019 I netted $11,000 and he pulled support. You have to tell the judge. And she again went behind my back and didn't listen to what I said. She didn't file a motion with the judge. And she responded later and said, "Oh, deal with his attorney for an extension." Well, even though I have an email that they agreed and that was binding, the judge this week told me that I ignored the fee against me and that I should have paid it a long time ago. And he didn't take the excuse or the email. He didn't accept the email that, that they had agreed to an extension with my previous counsel. So what the judge did is he ordered me to pay $10,273, backdated with interest as of January 2021, and now it's October. So I owe interest for like 9 months, almost 10 months. And I don't have the money to pay for it. I didn't have it then, and I don't have it now. And I don't have, the interest on it. And the judge said to me, ignoring the attorney fee and not paying it, is not the way to go. And I said to the judge, I didn't ignore it. I reached out to my counsel. I asked her to reach out to the judge, and she said she will work it out. And we have that in email. And he said, if this is what everybody does, there would be anarchy. He said, you could have, applied to the appellate court to get it overturned. You should have filed a motion. Well, he said you should have first responded to the motion that caused your default in attorney fees. He said you could have done a motion to vacate at the time, and you just ignored it. So just be careful with what attorneys tell you. Always have them respond to any motions. And, there's so many things that my attorney could have done. She should have entered a motion. First, she should have responded to the motion, and it wouldn't have a default. She should have told them that I didn't have his discovery as well. Secondly, she could have, put in a motion to vacate. She could have, and also his argument was he didn't know how much money I was making. By that time, in 2019, I just started working for like 2 months. And he knew quite well, like, how much I was making in 2020, because I've given them my pay stub, I've given them my W-2, I've given them my income tax, so they know, like, I don't have any money. Um, so, the judge was very upset because now it makes me look like, first, I didn't comply with discovery, which I don't have theirs either. Secondly, it shows I don't care because my lawyer did not respond to a motion. Third, again, it shows like I don't care because my lawyer did not respond to the judge in email. My lawyer did not point out my financials at all, and I didn't know that because you depend on lawyers to know what to say to the judge and what to do. So I was clueless to all of that and depended so much on the lawyers to know what to do. Yeah, I remember calling them after I lost and like being so floored and asking like what happened. And she blamed me. She said, well, he's saying you didn't provide discovery, you didn't provide him a medical card, which I did. And, she's blamed it on the medical card. The fact that I had insurance and he covered me and I wouldn't provide it to him, which I did. And that was her job to communicate all that. And she dropped the ball so big, it's causing me such a big headache that this week I felt paralyzed at work. I couldn't concentrate. Just to have that judgment and all those fees. And now the judge wrote in there that, he can blame that I am acting in bad faith. So bad faith is what a lot of states can actually, the plaintiff or the defendant can claim, saying that you are frivolously prolonging the divorce on purpose. So, I'm losing big. And I'm losing big because I had the wrong lawyers. I guess, if I was to do it differently, I probably wouldn't hire all these fancy, expensive lawyers because, they seem shiny and they seem very reputable. But if they don't do the right thing, that hurts, you because the judge doesn't believe that these reputable, expensive lawyers didn't do the right thing. Then they just blame you, even though you're fully unaware of everything that needs to be done or said. So yeah, bad faith is where they can, grant one side a lot more equity than the other side. So you can lose 70, 80%, or not lose, but they can grant the other side 70, 80% of the equity. Or they can even you can go into bankruptcy. The judge can order you to, now I'm ordered to pay attorney fees with interest accrued starting January 2021 until I pay it off. And the judge even said to me, I'm not going to incarcerate you. I couldn't believe it when he said that. I am a law-abiding citizen. I've always done my part. I've done everything I was supposed to do in this divorce. And I got screwed big time by my lawyers. So yes, bad faith. It happens. It's happening to me. I'm going to be blamed for everything, even though it's not my fault. I don't have any powers. But, what I would say is if you have a bad lawyer the second time, be careful, don't switch, because it will hurt your credibility. So that's it for this video. Bye.